Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 7 of What If Naruto Was Broken by the people that he loved. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Had the Deadliest Bloodline. And enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Animaking family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And also, over in Animaking 2, I post a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was the King of the Necromancers. And enjoy that guys. Remember, if you're new, yes, I indeed have 3 channels, and Making 2 and Making 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Making family. And thank you for all your help and your support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode start the intro. So, the last part we left off, as Ino explained to Sasuke everything that happened, things that Sasuke did not know, and he really did not know any of these. As the look on his face changed when he found out about this. But she told him that he would not kill Naruto. It doesn't matter what happened, he would not kill him, because she would not let him. But for now, they would work together, and they would go after him and find him. On the other hand, Sakura was talking to Kiba, as she tried to get him to understand that if Hinata didn't love him, there was nothing that he can do to change that. And given the evidence over the past couple of years, he looked towards her with a glare, as he told her that he's made up his mind, and if she's not come back with him, he's gonna kill both her and Naruto. As Sakura really believed that he thought that he could do that. But she needed his help right now. She needed his help, but the moment she didn't anymore. She wouldn't let him anywhere near Naruto, as she wouldn't let him harm him, even though she doubted Kiba could kill Naruto with all of his boasts. Meanwhile, Kurenai and Kakashi were making their way. Kurenai did not list the Kakashi words, thinking that he was not serious about getting back his students, as she chose to follow her instincts and take her way over a ridge. And that was a big mistake as she fell. Kakashi had to jump over as he hit his back against the wall. He ended up breaking a few ribs with himself banging against the wall, as Kurenai noticed that after he passed out. As Kakashi woke up to be bandaged, as Kurenai was shivering as her things had fell into the water, he opened his sleeping bag and told her to enter, as she looked towards him with a glare, but he promised he wouldn't do anything. As she came inside to get warmed up, as she apologized for not listening to him. Meanwhile, as Naruto was facing another test, he was facing off against Yoruichi, as she was there to seduce him, to see if he could control himself, but she wanted to test how strong he was as well. As she started to cause mass lightning and chaos all around her, as Naruto released his own powers, he tapped into 3 tails, worth of the chakra from 9 tails. As the both of them fought devastating in the land, the battle was chaotic and destructive. In the end, as her clothes were burned off really badly, as he was going to kill her. She wanted to test him, there was no reason of him killing her. As the both of them ended up passing out, he woke up with her on top of him completely naked, as she tried to seduce him, but in the end he prevailed, as she told him that that was a test. Back towards where Yamamoto and the others were, as everyone was shocked when Yoruichi stepped out of the portal, as she wasn't wearing a single thing. As she looked towards Hinata and the others, who got really jealous after hearing what Yamamoto said, what the test was, seduction for Naruto. As Naruto came out, and she made it more worse by the way she spoke about certain events that happened between them, even though things didn't went as the way she said. As she was making things, well, more worse as the two females were getting angry. Well, she wanted to join Naruto, and tag along with the team as well, it seems. So yeah guys, so it's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across and please check it for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? We begin this new episode with Akamaru, who suddenly stiffened as he barked, waking Sakura and Kiba from their slumber. As Kiba looked over towards Akamaru, "You got his scent, boy." The dog barked, "Hey!" as he ran off, forcing Sakura and Kiba to run after him as well. As Sakura's mind was working overtime. As she ran, what should she do? What could she say to prevent him from likely attacking her on the spot? As Kiba saw Akamaru jumped over the ridge and landed. "Got him," Kiba said with a smirk as he made his way. But Akamaru was trapped in a camouflage pit which he could not escape as he tried to wiggle himself out. Lying on the ground was a shirt of Naruto, the source of the scent. Kiba growled as he shredded his shirt with his claw fingers. What the hell is the trap doing all the way out here? Ino smirked as she entered her back her body, as Sasuke held her up so that she wouldn't collapse off the tree. Sasuke then threw the smoke bomb right between them. As Sakura and Kiba were caught off guard, they snapped their heads around, but it was too late, as both Ino and Sasuke descended down the smoke, knocking the both of them out, thus buying them time to get there first, as they made their way. As Ino thought about the shirt, as a memory popped in her mind. Flashback, 2.5 years ago. "You're not alone, you know," Ino said. As Naruto laughed, "You know, Sakura gave me the same line." Ino slowly handed him the bouquet of flowers in her hand. As Naruto blinked and looked up at her. I told you you're not alone. Because I love you, Naruto," she said. As he went silent. "Please say something." "I don't know what to say, Ino. I had 2 other people tell me the same thing. And since the wedding, you've been here. We've been through a lot, you've been a good friend to me," said Naruto. "I don't think that I could actually survive these past 6 months without you. I admit, I have grown close to you. Quite fond of you, Ino," said Naruto. But he took a step back. "I don't want to jeopardize our friendship by seeking something more." "But why?" she said. "I want us to be more than friends and sound. Like you would like that too." "Because, Ino, I'm afraid. If I allow myself to love you and something were to happen to us." As he stomped a foot as he shook his head rapidly. "I don't think I can take that kind of pain anymore, Ino," he said. "Please, Naruto-kun, I know that you're scared of loving someone because of what happened to you in the past. I understand that. But please," as she stepped forward, "give me a chance to show you I can be the one that can love you back," she said. As Naruto sat down, his mind going through a lot right there and then. It didn't help one bit as she crawled right into his lap. It was then that he looked up and truly took in her appearance. The curves, the twists, the beautiful face, the long flowing blonde hair. He couldn't help but blush a bit as she was leaning quite close to him. As he looked deep within her eyes. "Do you mean it? Do you really love me?" he said. "I meant every word," she said, "and I promise I won't ever hurt you," as she leaned forward and claimed his lips. It didn't take long for him to deepen back the kiss. In the flashback, Ino, remember that moment. That was the moment that she told him how she really felt. And she remembered when she broke things off with him 6 months later. That blank look on his face was the same look that he got when he opened the door. The Sasuke hospital room. She remembered as she tried to explain why she was breaking up with him as Shikamaru came by. Naruto had noticed Nara and Ino sharing a suspicious glance. Before she could say another word, he had looked between them. She saw the brief flicker of pain before he walked away. He just walked away into the night. She had did the one thing that she promised she would never do to him. Would he ever forgive her? She could only hope, but a part of her was telling her that he still hates her. As both her and Sasuke made their way in nothing but silence. Time skip. As Naruto breathed out a heavy sigh, as Nell finally went back to sleep. "She seemed like a good girl, Naruto-kun," Yoruichi said, as she was watching them. As he really treated her like his daughter. As Naruto nodded as he looked down lovingly towards Nell. "I'm sorry about my reaction to her earlier, but you have to understand, the prior encounters between a Shinigami and an Arrancar have been rather difficult, shall we say, in the past." As Naruto turned around to raised an eyebrow into her statement, as he noticed that she had finally put some clothes on. Well, bra and underwear, if you could call that clothes. I don't trust you, you know that? She pouted as she walked forward, as she planted a kiss on his lips. But to her surprise, he pushed her back instantly. Look, I don't know what is going on in that devious mind of yours, but let me explain something to you. Until a few days ago, I have sworn off the notion of giving or receiving love from anyone for the last 2 years. But something changed a few days ago, said Yorichi. Yes, said Naruto. That little girl you see right there, lying before you, and those 2 women that you met, have started to make me question that notion. And although I'm still trying to come to terms with my feelings towards them, I know that you're precious to me, and I won't do anything that hurt them in any way. Don't think that you can bat your eyelash and stick your tongue down my throat, and I would fall madly in love with you. Do you understand what I'm saying? As she gave him a nod. I understand, Naruto-kun, she said. Your love is something you want me to earn. Well, if it comes to it. She moved forward, but it was no kiss. Instead, she hugged him. I don't mind sharing you either, she said, as she slowly left the bedroom, her hips swaying, as Naruto couldn't take his eyes off it. She then paused. Oh, get some rest. We will tell you all about the Shinigami and Ankar War in the morning. As she left the room, as Naruto sat down, as he wondered how in a few days he got a daughter that he loved so much, and 3 women all pining for his affection, something that he had given up a long time ago. He sighed. He wasn't going to solve anything tonight, as he lay down in a peaceful slumber. When Naruto awoke the next morning, he saw that Nell was no longer with him, as he slowly rose up to make his way towards the residence of Yamamoto. Upon entering, he saw Hinata got up from the table, where Shunsui and Yorichi and Yujito was sitting down. Naruto watches Hinata went to pick up Nell, who was in the corner playing with some toys. Calling out to her, Naruto was taken aback by the look of hurt that was in her eyes when their eyes met. Without saying a word, Hinata bent down to pick up Nell, and they exit the room in silence, confused at what just transpired. Naruto made his attention towards the table, as he noticed that Shunsui and Yamamoto were trying to control nosebleeds, while Yorichi had a big smirk on her face, as Yujito was glaring daggers at Naruto. What's going on? Said Naruto. Oh, not much. We've just been sitting here, and Yorichi has been telling us how you were able to pass second trial. She has been giving us all the finer details of what you did, and what happened out there, said Yujito, as Naruto glanced towards Yorichi, who simply shrugged her shoulder. The act, she said. Naruto made his way off, as he heard water splashing as he made his way to see Nell in a small little onsen, as she splashed her own, with Hinata watching nearby. That's enough playing, Nell-chan. You use that soap and you get good and clean. Okay, Hinata-chan, said Nell. Hinata, Naruto called out. Can we talk? She stiffened at hearing his voice. We don't have anything to talk about, Naruto-kun, she said. Great, she's pissed off. Please, I can tell that you're upset. Won't you at least hear me out? Don't I deserve that much? Hinata looked towards Nell, and told her that she and Naruto-kun was gonna talk, and she better be squeaky clean when they got back. Nell nodded, but she returned to playing and splashed on her own. Hinata followed Nell into the onsen and closed the door behind her. I know that you're angry and upset about what happened during my second trial with Yorichi. She did not look him in the eyes. I'm not angry or upset with you, Naruto-kun, she said. I can tell that you're angry and you're upset, said Naruto. I didn't know what she told you, but I did not sleep with her. You almost did. Hinata quietly mumbled. You're right, I almost did, and I'm sorry that you're hurt by that. But can you please forgive me, said Naruto. I don't want you to be angry and upset with me. Idiot, she said. I'm not angry or upset with you. I'm angry and upset with myself for feeling angry and upset with you, she said. As Naruto was now visibly confused, she sank down to her knees as she clutched him to her chest, tears in her eyes. I'm angry at myself, Naruto-kun, not you. I have no right to be angry with you. Not after what I did. What right do I have to be angry with you after what nearly happened in your trial? Not after what I did 3 years ago by marrying Kiba, even if you had slept with her. I had no right to be angry or jealous at all after what I did. The last time I feel this way is when Ino told me about her feelings for you and asked me if she could follow up on them with you. Of course I told her yes because I wanted you to be happy, after what I did, but yet I still felt so jealous and angry. As Naruto scowled hearing Ino's name, Hinata noticed that Ino made a mistake, Naruto-kun, just like I did. Please, don't hate her for that. As Naruto took Hinata's hand, I appreciate you defending your friend, Hinata-chan. But Ino didn't make a mistake. She made a choice. But I too made a choice when I married Kiba. Yes, but you made your choice out of love for your sister. Because you want to protect her and Konohamaru. Hinata remained silent as she didn't know what to say regarding Ino. Her own relationship with Naruto had been renewed a few days ago and they were still trying to figure out what they were to each other. Don't beat yourself up, said Naruto. But about feeling jealous about my child, in a way it shows me that you care for me, he said. I do. Of course I do. As Naruto hugged her, well come on, he said. We better go check on Nell-chan and make sure she's staying out of trouble. Hinata nodded as they opened the door, but they did not see Nell anywhere. As they heard a giggle, the both of them looked up with wide eyes. Nell had somehow managed to climb up 20 feet from the main support beam, up on the roof as she was giggling. Hinata-chan, Naruto-kun, watch me do a cannonball! As she jumped off, as Naruto flashed away and caught her. Oh, why did you catch me, Naruto-kun, she said. I was having so much fun. As Naruto shook his head, a little while later after, drying off and sending a pouting Nell to her room for a timeout, as she was a bit angry because she was just trying to have some fun, and yet they put her in a timeout. As Naruto and Hinata joined the others in the main room, as Yamamoto was about to tell them what happened, he once again introduced himself, well, their full titles. You see, he said, we are what you refer to in this world as Shinigamis, or Soul Reapers. We govern the flow of soul in the human world, and the afterlife. Well, I should say that we did. What do you mean you did, said Naruto. Where did the souls go after you left the human world? Asked Hinata. So, you guys are like dead gods, said Yujito. Oh man Yama, why don't you make me explain everything to them? You tend to get a bit long-winded, and we don't have all day, Shunsui said. Long-winded indeed. Very well, you may take over. Thank you. Now, I'll answer Yujito-chan question first. Yes, we are more or what you would call dead gods. Now Hinata, the souls that we take from the human worlds move on to the soul society, a place where they live in peace, until they are reincarnated back into the human world. Naruto, your question will be answered at the end of my tale, so let me give you a quick rundown of everything, he said, as all of them nodded. Now, old Yama here founded the Shino Academy, which trained Shinigamis about 1,700 years ago, and personally instructed myself and my best friend Joshiro as his first students to become captain in the Gotei 13, which he constructed, and he became the supreme commander. The main duty was to defend the capital city of the Soul Society. In addition to these duties, Shinigamis also had to deal with the business of being assigned to the human world and guiding those deserving souls to the Soul Society. However, our most important duty is to protect those deserving souls from the Hollows. Hollows are a race of creatures who are born from human souls for various reasons that do not cross over to the Soul Society after their death, and they stay within the human world for too long. They are corrupt spirits that devour the souls of both the living and the dead. This all functioned without any incident for over 1,700 years until the Soul Society and our team was betrayed by some of their own. A grim look spread on their faces as Naruto noticed that. As Shunsui continued on, Sosuke Aizen was a former captain of the 5th Division. He orchestrated a plan with 2 of his other followers to destroy the Soul Society by escaping to Wako Mundo, the dimension where Hollow and Ankar resides. It lies between the world of living and Soul Society, and they can cross over into both worlds. As Naruto thought turned on Nell, hearing that word Ankar, he decided to just listen though and hear what the man had to say. Before escaping to Wako Mundo, Aizen was able to steal the Hogyoku. It is a device that possesses abilities to transform Shinigamis into a perfect Hollow Shinigami hybrid. It also possesses the ability to evolve certain Hollows into Ankars, which Aizen used to wage war against Soul Society by using an army of Ankars that he created. That little girl in that room is one of the first, most powerful Ankars that Aizen had created. Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that Nel-chan is one of this Izon guy's soldiers, and you all fought against her, said Naruto? That's bullshit. I mean, she's just a little girl, said Naruto. No. Nel did not fight in the Shinigami Ankar War. I don't know what or why, but something happened to her, and she was cast out before the war began. Naruto was about to say something else. Please, Naruto-kun, let Sensui finish. We promised that we would listen till the end, said Hinata. As Naruto grumbled, but he decided to stay quiet, although he didn't believe it one bit. Nel? No, not Nel. There's really not much more to the story. The war began and there was much casualties on both sides. Finally, in a climactic showdown, the remaining Shinigami and Ankar both fought and released their power, and ended everything in one fell swoop. As Sensui leaned back, as Naruto realized that was the end of the story. I don't understand. If you guys won the war, then why are you here and not in the Soul Society? I never said that we won the war, Naruto. So, the Ankars won the war, to Hinata. I never said that either. Then just what are you saying? When did this damn war take place anyhow? Yamamoto took a sip of his tea. It will take place 400 years in the future. What? Naruto, Hinata, and Yuchito shouted. It's true, the war won't happen for another 400 plus years. You see, when the Shinigami and Ankar released all of our powers out at one another, the resulting hole ripped the fabric through time, space, and dimensions, which resulted into all of the remaining Shinigamis being flung through time, through the human world. And the old man, myself, and Yurichi were thrown into this time period. But what we didn't know until we saw Nel is that the remaining Ankars were also thrown into this time period as well. And knowing that there might be more Ankars running around in this time period is quite concerning, said Sensui. So that guy, said Naruto. Well, I don't know how much of them was thrown into this time period, but I can tell you there's one less. What do you mean, said Sensui. Several days ago I found one of these guys who was trying to kill off Nel-chan. He was speculating about killing her to gain her powers, but at the time I did not understand it. He was pretty busted up by the time I found him. Some of his limbs were chopped off, probably by one of you Shinigamis in the war. So I finished him off. Little Nel does contain great power, Naruto, but it lay dormant, so I warn you. Be on your guard because her immense power can manifestate again without any warning, said Yamamoto. Well, if there are more Ankar roaming around, I'm glad that Yorichi is here to add her power and skill to a fight instead of just me and the old man here. As Yorichi smiled at that. I don't understand. You both seemed surprised when you saw one another yesterday, said Hinata. That's because I was surprised to see her. Up until yesterday I thought that only me and the old man were thrown into this time period. Same for me. I thought it was just me and the old geezer. Why didn't you tell us about each other, you old kook? Because knowing the both of you and your overdrive libidos, the two of you would have spent the remaining time humping like wild rabbits instead of conducting yourself like former members of the Gotia 13. And you wouldn't have accomplished your task of helping finding new potential Shinigamis for the future. They looked at one another. They wanted to refute what he was saying, but they realized that he was probably right in his statement. However, I am very pleased to know that you two have decided to aid Naruto against these threats that are the Akatsukis. From what Yujito has told me, they seem to be a threat to this time period, as Yankar was to us. Both of them gave him a nod. They wouldn't say it out loud, but they felt well. But they really appreciated hearing that he approved of their choice to help out Naruto. The next morning, as the group was about to leave, as they were bidding farewell to Yamamoto, as he kneeled in front of Nel, young one, I have a present for you. A present? What is it? What is it? Said Nel. This, as he pulled with a large leather sack from nowhere. The top was bound by a loose knot. Her little fingers started working the knot as he undone it. Her eyes widened as she squealed in delight. It was candy. As she jumped up and hugged him. Thanks, Yamajiji, she said. I'll miss you. Goodbye for now. As she made her way and jumped on top of Naruto's shoulder. As Nel was currently digging into the early morning desserts. Are you sure you want to stay here? Yamamoto-san said Naruto. I'm sure. As Naruto bowed to the man, a rare gesture for him of gratitude. Thank you, Sensei, for your help and your guidance you've shown to me and my people for the past few days. The man chuckled in response. I haven't been called Sensei in quite some years. Shunsui and Yorichi gave him a bow, and with that, they made their way to find the leader of this group called the Crimson Blades. As there was one particular person between them that had a link to the bandits. Well, it seems like he has been forgotten over the past couple of Days. It was Daisuke. Daisuke, what the hell have you gotten yourself into? These people are all weirdos. We got a blonde swordsman who has the power of the devil himself. A little green-haired child. She looked innocent, but I feel like she's hiding something, Daisuke said. A lazy straw hat, wielding swordman, who seemed to be a pervert. And not to mention three stunning ladies. But all of them have eyes for the blonde. And here I am, a goddamn bandit. What the hell am I doing here with this group? He did not understand. In terms of the bandit group, he was quite strong. But compared to these people, he was basically nothing. So why did Naruto Uzumaki want to join us? This guy and his friends are so strong they could take over our village if they wanted to. And yet he wanted to join us bandits. Daisuke could not understand. Daisuke, as he was snapping his thoughts. Quick, lagging behind and get up here. I want to talk to you about your organization. I know that you're good at killing innocent travelers on the road, but I know nothing else about them. I want you to tell me all about and what it means to be a Crimson Blade Bandit. Daisuke gulped at the tone. Yes, Naruto-sama. I'll tell you everything I know, he said. While that was happening, a Crimson Eye Beauty was waking up from a peaceful night's slumber. She couldn't understand. Why was her pillow making a thumping sound in her ear? Her eyes widened as she saw the position she was in. As a blush spread on her cheeks, during some point in the night she had leaned over on Kakashi. As her head now rested on his chest, his well-toned chest, and her legs were draped all over him. She glanced up as she saw that he was still sleeping. As she smiled, as long as he was still asleep, she could rest for a while, as she was rather comfortable, except for the kunai that he had that was poking her in the leg. As she was still half asleep, as she reached down to remove the annoying weapon that was poking her. Why the hell would he keep a kunai all the way down here? And why wrap it up in cloth, she thought to herself. As her hand reached down, she grabbed the rather weirdly shaped kunai and tried to pull it free. As she couldn't pull it, it was still in his holster. As she finally found the entrance to the holster, as she reached inside, she then heard Kakashi. His voice was rather shaky. What are you doing, Kunai? He said. I'm trying to remove this damn kunai that is poking me, Kakashi, she said. As her hand wrapped around the kunai. Kunai, that's not the kunai, said Kakashi. As Kunai felt the thing pulsating, kunais didn't do that. As her mind fully woke up at that moment, and she screamed. Moments later, as Kakashi was nursing a lump on his forehead, as Kunai was pacing around, Kakashi rubbed the lump on his head. What was that for? He said. She stopped pacing as she glared at him. I thought I told you last night, if you did anything perverted, you would pay for it. Excuse me, but I didn't do anything perverted. If we recall, it was not my hands in someone's pants, but yours. Her eyes went wide as she glanced down. Well, how do you explain that? Kakashi covered up. Oh, that. That would have been there whether you're in a sleeping bag or not. You certainly had nothing to do with it, he said. Her face developed a tick mark as he realized that he might have insulted her. I didn't mean that you couldn't cause it to happen, Kunai. I mean, someone as beautiful as you could easily cause such a reaction like that. Just ask any male over the age of 12 back in the village. He chuckled nervously as he saw that she was just getting angrier. Shouldn't have said that last part, he thought to himself. But she just growled. Let us never speak of what happened here ever again. I'm gonna get some firewood. As she stomped off into the woods. Well, she didn't kill me. As he watched her leave. She's got a rather nice ass, he said. Unbeknownst to Kakashi, the reason why she didn't try to attack him or kill him was because her mind had been focused on one thing that he said. He thinks I'm beautiful? As she looked at her hand, a blush spread across her face. Well, it might have not been the weapon I thought it was, as she looked around to make sure no one was close enough. But it's the biggest damn weapon I've ever seen in my entire life. Several miles away from them, as Ino was awoken by Sasuke brewing coffee. As he saw her awoken, as he poured her some of the coffee, as Ino took it with a thanks. She took a sip before spitting it out. Your coffee sucks, Sasuke. Yeah, it does, but it will wake you up, Ino, he said. Why are we waking up so soon? We only got a few hours of sleep after non-stop running. I know that we pushed ourselves hard to put some distance between us and Sakura and the mud boy, but we have to get going to find Naruto now. But why, Sasuke, she said. Because today is the final day of the 2 weeks Nanny gave me to find and bring Naruto back to the village. If I don't do that by today, then I'm supposed to carry out is elimination. You mean is murder? Ino spat with contempt. As Sasuke said, change the subject as he did not answer that one. You know, Ino, I understand running to soccer out here. I figured that she would be looking for Naruto the same as us. But why is Kiba out here? A look of confusion spread across Ino's face. How did she get hooked up with him? I've been wondering about that too, said Sasuke. Maybe they just got together the same way we did, and they decided to team up to find Naruto. Yeah, but why is Kiba looking for Naruto? Oh, I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure he's looking for Hinata. Hinata? She's out here looking for him as well? Why is she... For the same reason I am, idiot. She just figured it out a few days earlier before me. She'd never stop loving him, and she loved him as much as she always has. Sasuke stared at Ino before he started to laugh. This unnerved Ino because Sasuke didn't really laugh that much. After a minute of listening to Sasuke laugh out loud, she couldn't stand it anymore. What's so damn funny, she said. Between chuckles, he was able to mutter out, I'm sorry, Ino, he said. I'm not laughing at you, I swear. I was just thinking back to the academy days, where you and Sakura wouldn't give Naruto the time of the day. Or if you did, it was just Sakura to beat the crap out of him. Or when Hinata couldn't say hi to him because she was too shy. Now a few years later, here he is, fighting off 3 of the prettiest girls in the class, with a stick. The dope has really got it together, huh? Don't call Naruto a dope. And don't lump Hinata in with me and Sakura. We were too blind to notice what a wonderful guy Naruto was, because we were busy chasing after an emo traitor who deserted the village. In her anger, she lashed out. As Sasuke stopped laughing and looked down, as she realized what she said, she took a deep breath. I'm sorry, Sasuke. I didn't mean to say that. It's just, when you call him a dope, it brought back some memories of how I and Sakura used to treat him. Memories that I hated, and yet I can't forget them, she said. If you're going to call anyone a dope, it's either me or Sakura. Hinata, on the other hand, she always recognized how special he was. While we were... She shook her head in regret. It's alright, Ino. I understand, said Sasuke. I did betray the village, and that's something I'm always going to have to live with. And it's not like I meant dope in an insulted way. It's just something between us. A mental image popped in his head. Teen, dope. As he remembered. And yet he had to... He clenched his fists. He couldn't. Naruto was his friend. And yet he had to go after him. If he didn't want to come back, he had to... Alright, let's get moving, Ino said. We have to find him. On the other hand, when regaining consciousness and freeing Akamaru, Kiba was furious. I swear, whoever sucker punched me when I find them, I'm gonna rip them to pieces. I bet it was Naruto, that bastard. Sakura glared at Kiba for his remark. As Akamaru started to bark towards Kiba, Kiba growled in annoyance as he calmed himself down. As he started to head back to the campsite. What is it, Kiba? What did Akamaru say? It wasn't Naruto but 2 other people. One of them used a jutsu to take over Akamaru and lead him into that trap. Take over him? Sakura thought to herself, as her mind instantly went on one person. Ino pig. No, don't tell me that blonde-headed bitch is also out here looking for Naruto as well. Does Akamaru know or see who attacked us, Kiba? No, they used something to mask their scent, but he did say that they were in Anvo masks and clothing. Sakura clenched her fists. Shit. That confirms that Ino pig is in Anvo, but I wonder who's her partner. If it was Ino, she couldn't let her find Naruto before she did. Well, whoever they were, they cost us a lot of time in finding them. We need to get moving now. Kiba nodded as they packed their things up to begin their searches. Time skip, the sun was setting, as Naruto and his party look over the hill where the Crimson Blade establishments reside. The camp was comprised of various tents of all sizes, but directly in the center was a large tent that had guards posted all around it. This was obviously the headquarters of this leader that Daisuke told him about. There were several women and children also moved around as well. Naruto learned that Daisuke and his wife and his children. There was also several other children and their wives were there as well, that traveled with the group. As the camp didn't stay one place for too long, they went all over the Elemental Nation. So these are the famous Crimson Blades, huh? Not much. But they were better than he expected, he thought to himself. Most of the chakra signatures are low-level tuning rank. There was a few like Daisuke. With some training they could be upgraded to Jonin level. He narrowed his eyes towards the central tent. There were some very strong ones coming from that. One of them in fact was a high-level Jonin. There was about 150 chakra signatures, not including the women and children. That should be enough to get things done. Naruto-sama, we should get going, the leader expressed a great interest in meeting you. And he doesn't like to be kept waiting, said Daisuke. Yes, said Naruto. Let's not keep him waiting any longer. I too wish to meet him, especially after what you told me about him on our journey here. Nell had persisted to be carried by Yoruichi, as she wanted to get to know Naruto-kun knew Wifey-chan, as everyone had froze by hearing that. And well, Yoruichi had just made it a lot worse by bringing up things that happened, well, just to make the other girls feel angry, and Naruto just gave her a glare. But she seemed to enjoy the teasing. As Naruto and the group made their way in the bandit camp, it seems that news of what he did had spread like wildfire. Many of the women were pulling the children into tents, out of fear of these newcomers. Many of the men glare or turn away from Naruto and his companions. But one woman holding a small child in her arms, not much older than Nell, ran up to them. Daisuke-kun, Ayam-chan, Haruko-chan. Daisuke kissed and hugged his wife and child. I missed you, my sweet Ayam. Have you and Haruko been alright since I've been gone? Yes, we've been fine. Sakeki has been sniffing around from time to time, but other than that, we've been fine. Sakeki? Daisuke said in anger. Don't think about it. He wouldn't try anything. He knows the leader will kill him without a thought if he ever tried anything. I suppose, but I think I might have killed that bastard one of these days. A call from Naruto brought him back to the situation at hand. So, are you going to introduce us or not, Daisuke? Said Naruto. Forgive me, Naruto-sama. This is my wife, Ayam, and this is my little girl, Haruko. And may I present Naruto Uzumaki? As Naruto gave them a small nod. Yes, Ayam-chan, he said. Daisuke and I have spoke about you a lot in our travels. Daisuke gulped at that, as he realized he wanted to get his daughter and wife far away from Naruto as soon as possible, as he ushered them in a tent. Forgive the delay, Naruto-sama. We should head to the meeting right now. You will not be going to any meeting because where you stand is where you will all die. Sakeki stood there with a dozen bandits who all pulled their blades. As Naruto looked towards the man, he remembered it was the one that he had punished a couple days ago for being too arrogant. As Naruto laughed at the attempt. I see you still haven't learned your lesson yet, Worm, said Naruto. 2 days ago I was merciful, but now I'm tired and you're delaying my meeting. I hope all of you enjoy the life that you lived so far, because you will all die. But before he could put Nell down and pull his blade, Yoruichi stepped in front of him. As she held her hand on his hand for a bit longer than expected, roaming her hand up his chiseled arms. Please allow me to handle this. Ruffians, Naruto-kun, she said, as she gave him a rather, well, sultry tone in her voice. As he gave her a nod, she vanished. It took seconds, as she was holding up a blade to Sakika's throat. The men around him, the 12 of them, their heads fell, as their bodies fall as well. Before she could kill the man, a voice spoke up, as a figure was standing in a black robe. Daisuke dropped on his knees, so did everyone else. Sakika and the others were still standing, and Naruto and his party as well, as Sakika was afraid to move, afraid that he would get his throat sliced. The leader was wearing a mask. You could not tell of their appearance at all, as the voice of the leader was distorted by the mask. What is going on here, Daisuke? I expect you to bring this man and his companions to me, immediately. Why are they still right here? And why is my camp littered with a dozen headless bodies? As Daisuke spoke, forgive me, Leader-sama. I was doing as you ordered, but as you can see, this man was attacked by Sakika and his idiotic friends. The Crimson Blade leader glanced towards Sakika and gave him a small bow. I apologize. Please forgive this insult. I did not invite you here for this. I only wish to meet a man I've heard so much about through whispers. The fault is not yours, Leader-san. I'm sure it's hard to keep worms like that under control, said Naruto. I accept your apology. As Naruto returned back with a bow. Thank you, Naruto-san. Speaking of worms, allow me to deal with this one. Sakika, get your tent and stay there until I think of a suitable punishment for your transgression tonight. And if I were you, I would pray to comment that I'm feeling merciful by the time I'm ready for you. As Sakika rushed off, Yorichi sheathed their Janpaku as the Crimson Blade leader stepped towards his tent. As he sat down in a large chair, a bird flew through the tent flap and landed right on his shoulder. As Naruto stood and faced the Crimson Blade leader, the others behind him to the side. So, I understand that you wish to join the Crimson Blade bandits. No, I don't, said Naruto. As everyone looked up in surprise at that, the leader tilted his head. If you don't wish to join my organization, then tell me, or are you here? Well, the truth is I need a small army of fighters to take with me to the Spring Country. However, it can't just be any army, because I need skilled fighters to help me battle a small, powerful group of missing names that are currently waiting for me there. And since I can't just go and pick up an army since I'm a missing name myself, said Naruto, I figure your group of bandits should be sufficient enough to help me get my job done. The leader looked at Naruto silently for a minute before he calmly asked, and what makes you think I will lead my men to Spring Country? Just to help you out. Oh, you're right, you probably wouldn't, said Naruto. Which is why you can't exactly be the leader anymore. As Naruto pulled his blade in the guillotine state as it crashed on the floor. It's my understanding from Daisuke that anyone can challenge you for leadership of your group of bandits. As Naruto lifted the massive blade and placed it on his shoulder with practiced ease. If I'm able to make you submit or just kill you, then the leadership of the army falls to me, correct? Yes, quite correct. The man glared at Daisuke, who almost wet himself, realizing the deep shit that he was in right now. He turned back to Naruto. We will have our battle for the leadership, for the Crimson Blade leader, tomorrow. Until then, I invite you and your companions to dine with me, and rest until morning comes. Is that acceptable to you, Naruto-san? As Naruto strapped the sword to his back. That is very gracious of you, leader-san. But I have one small request to make. Oh, what's that? Please drop the transformation, said Naruto. I would like to know who I'm fighting in the morning, not this fake image sitting in front of me right now. You're good. No one has seen through my hands before. Well, I hope you, and especially your friends, like surprises. He got to his feet as his body started to flicker away. An instant later, a rather large man was revealed. He had a lone visible green eye. His left eye was covered by an eye patch. His hair was long and spiky, with small bells attached to it. A long thin scar running down the left side of his face. He had a sleeveless Captain Hiyori that looked rather raggedy, and the crow that was on his shoulder was a short girl with pink hair and pink eyes. As she swung her legs back in front in nothing but happiness, her pink colored hair threw him for a moment, but Naruto focused his attention back on the large man in front of him. The man was so big he actually made Naruto look small by comparison. A little girl looked to be no older than Nell. As Nell waved, and girl smiled and waved back, as Shunsui and Yorichi spoke. It can't be. It can't be. Oh, but it is, Yorichi, Shunsui. Because it is the one and only Zaraki, Kenpachi at your service. And you two remember, this little ball of angel is on my shoulder. My first lieutenant, Yachiru Kushijishi. Shunkan, Yurichan. The small child squealed in excitement. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next person, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode over on Anime King 2 of What If Naruto Became the King of the Necromancers, and enjoy that guys. And also over in Anime King 3, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Had the Deadliest Bloodline, so go ahead and enjoy that guys. And yeah, if you're new, you heard that correctly, you haven't made a mistake or anything guys. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So how about go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and your support, and yeah, without further ado, what do you say we get the hell out of here? See you guys soon, peace.